Hi everyone, my name is Ben. I am coming to you live from scenic my bedroom, and yeah, I'm here to talk about some records. I've been watching a lot of vinyl community videos on YouTube, and sort of wanted to get into the action. I was a bit hesitant to do it, a little bit of stage fright, but I'm here and I'm ready to get rolling. So, a little bit about myself. My name is Ben. Yeah, I grew up in the era of cassettes and compact discs. And so that's sort of where I grew up. My family was always listening to music like all the time. And so I grew up around, all my parents' cassettes and CDs. We listened to oldies radio all the time. That's kind of where the base of my music comes in, is from oldies radio. Yeah, from there it just kind of like exploded everywhere, right? So, yeah, it really just branched out. Vinyl collecting for me started as sort of like a natural thing because my parents had their records and we would listen to them. But for me, a lot of the music that I like came out originally on vinyl. And for me, it was just sort of like a natural thing. Like, I like this music. I want to get this music on the format that it came out on originally. And it just sort of, snowballed from there. So, Dillon from Noble Records came out with his vinyl tag for the quarantine, as we are all in the midst of still. I'm a little late to the party, but better late than never, I guess. I don't know. I've been wanting to do this since it came out, and I finally worked up the courage to set up a camera and talk to myself in my room. So, anyways, yeah, Dillon at Noble Records started this. It's a series of questions. Figured it'd be a good sort of like icebreaker for vinyl videos. Anyways, so the first question is, favorite record from your home state or city? I am from Massachusetts. There are a lot of bands, a lot of artists from Massachusetts, But the one that I had to go with, it's a slam dunk for me. It's the Cars' first album. This, yeah, it's a perfect record. I mean, I've heard it said like this a bunch of times. This record is a greatest hits record. It is a Cars' greatest hits record, really. Front to back, as they say, all killer, no filler. Yeah, it's just from the get-go, it starts off, Good Times Roll, My Best Friend's Girl, Just What I Needed. Just that first three songs in a row. Bam, bam, bam. Oh my god, yeah. It doesn't stop. This album's great. I love this album. I thought maybe I'll pick a cool record, something that someone has not heard, or something people will be impressed by. But no, if it's my favorite record from Massachusetts, it's the Cars' first record. So, next one is an album you highly recommend. My music taste is kind of like all over the place, really. I grew up listening to a lot of soul music. I grew up listening to a lot of oldies, pop, rock stuff, and branched out from there. I always have a soft spot in my heart for soul music. And so anything for me that is like a throwback or a callback to 60s, 70s R&B, I'm going to like it. So, yeah, an album I would highly recommend. I wanted to go with something that wasn't, maybe not everyone's bag, or something that, you wouldn't see. And that is Black Pumas. Black Pumas, this is a really good, it's just a really good record. It's one that you can just sort of like put on, and it's just got good tunes. It's something you can just sort of like hang out and relax to. Lots of good stuff on here. If you like sort of like 60s, 70s old soul music, sort of like the Wilson Pickett sort of soul music, I would definitely recommend Black Pumas. A tip for a beginner. Okay, so a tip for a beginner is a vague prompt. I don't know if I'm one to give a great tip for a beginner to the vinyl community on YouTube, because I myself am a beginner to the vinyl community on YouTube. So, if that's the tip, my tip would be just do it. I've been sitting here for a long time being like, I want to make those videos, but being a little afraid, being a little stage frighty. Just do it. I'm sitting here, I'm doing it. It's that easy. For record collectors, my tip would probably be, and this seems kind of obvious, but clean your records. It doesn't you don't have to go out and buy like a multi-$1,000 cleaning machine to clean your records. This is a good old one of these brushes with the cleaning liquid. Yeah, you can get these for super cheap. It's something. It's not going to do the best job cleaning. It makes a difference, especially if you're buying secondhand records from stores, depending. A lot of stores clean their records, but some just sort of like throw them out there. If you're buying thrift store records or you're buying garage sale records, it's probably just best practice to clean stuff. First record that really got you into deeper music, Nuggets. So this is not the original Nuggets. This is a sort of like a reissue. They did like a multi-part reissue. This is the first one. This is the closest to the original Nuggets in terms of the set list. But yeah, Nuggets, people probably know Nuggets. It was a revolution for me. Literally every single song on the original Nuggets compilation, I just dove into and really just sort of festered my love for garage rock. Yeah, just got Hey Joe by the Leaves, I Had Too Much to Dream Last Night by the Electric Prunes, Dirty Water by the Standells, Nobody But Me by the Human Beings, We Ain't Got Nothing Yet by the Blues Magoos, Pushing Too Hard by the Seeds, Talk Talk by the Music Machines, Psychotic Reaction by the Count 5. I could go on. It's perfect. If you like garage rock and you don't know Nuggets, I don't know how that happened, but yeah, it's just sort of like it fueled my addiction. I was like, oh, this is a thing. Oh, cool. An obscure record people may not know about. So, you know, I could have picked like, oh, this is a cool record people may not know about, and blah, 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 blah. I picked a record that you almost certainly will not know about. And that is because I don't know anything about it. As a backstory, my brother bought me for Christmas, this past Christmas, he bought me a humongous blind box of 7-inch records, 45 RPM records. And in there, a lot of it, you know, I knew the artists and stuff. There was one record that I knew absolutely nothing about. I have looked it up on the internet, and there is basically no information about it. I'm assuming it's like a private press sort of local deal. And this is The Flashbacks. The A-side on it is a cover of Neil Sedaka's Calendar Girl, and the B-side is a cover of Roy Orbison's Crying. And from listening to it, I don't even know when this is from. It doesn't have like super distinctive qualities of what era this is from. To me, it sounds a little bit 80s. It sounds a little bit 90s. It might even sound a little bit 2000s. I don't know when it's from. It's on Destiny. It's number 001. So it seems like this was like a test or something for this imprint or this record label. I don't know what it is. It just kind of sounds like a bunch of dudes just covering these songs. It's okay. It's not anything that is, mind-blowing stuff. But, yeah, if you know anything about this somehow, let me know. I don't know. I don't know what this is. I can find only, like, one bit of information confirming that on the internet, confirming that it exists. So I don't know what that is. Yeah, that's my obscure record. People may not know about it. You do not know about this record. I almost guarantee it. A group who you collect all their albums or try to. There are lots of groups that I would like to get all the records. This one's a little bit of a tall task just because of how prolific they are. This is more of a modern group. I mean, they are a modern group. But my pick is... that way's better. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This is Infest the Rat's Nest. The thing that I really like about King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is just how varied all of their music is. There's really just an album for whatever mood that I'm in. And including EPs and live albums officially released, I think they have like 16 or 17 albums, and they've been putting out music for like 10 years or something ridiculous like that. And so it's a little bit of a hard collection just because there's so many, and they're probably just going to keep putting out music at a crazy pace. So it's a little bit of a difficult, but I love them so much. Yeah, this is, like I said, Infest the Rat's Nest. This is a thrash metal album. It's really good. I'm not normally into metal. I love this album. So, Infest the Rat's Nest. This is their newest release. This is... Ooh, it's a little bit shiny. It's kind of hard to get on camera even with the cover on. But this is Chunky Shrapnel. This is their live album. This just came out. That's really good. Oh, also, what is... I go back and forth on what is my favorite of their records, but this was the first one that I bought, because at the time, and still now, I just love this record. This is not... I find this is not the most well-loved King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard record, but it's one of my favorites, and that is Sketches of Brunswick East. It's jazzy, it's psyche, it's got a little bit of like African jazz influence in it too. It's a cool record. I really like this record. A band whose second album is better than their first. We're getting into a technicality here because I'm just counting records put out by this band with this name, because they did put one album out before this with a different name, and my options are limited, so I'm gonna take this little cheat and this little technicality, and I will count it. So this is the first album by Badfinger. This is Magic Christian Music. It's good. It's not amazing, but it's good. It's got If You Want It, which was written by Paul McCartney, but their second album is my personal favorite Badfinger album, and that is No Dice by Badfinger. Yeah, this is just a good record. It's got one of my favorite songs of all time, which is No Matter What. I think as a perfect song, it's a perfect power pop song. They've got the original Without You, which was covered by Harry Nilsson for a hit. Yeah, this is a good record. Definitely better than Magic Christian Music, in my opinion. Show and Tell a Whack-A-Mole. So Whack-A-Mole is a thing that Norman Maslov, Mazzy, esteemed member of the vinyl community, does, where basically he's got tons and tons of records, and he will go and he will whack-a-mole, random pick records, and he can tell you about every single record in his collection. So my records are kind of down here, so I will pick a random one, and I will tell you about it. Yeah, this one's speaking to me. Ooh, I think this is a gatefold. Oh. Okay. This is Led Zeppelin 2. Led Zeppelin 2. Probably their best record, in my opinion, although I love Led Zeppelin. I mean, I love really anything they put out. I went through a huge Led Zeppelin phase in middle school. They were kind of one of the first bands that I kind of branched out from, like, my childhood music, like, oldies stuff. And, yeah. So, Led Zeppelin 2, it's just, front to back, it's great. What can I say about this record that hasn't been said? But yeah, I was obsessed with this record. I actually just recently picked this up. This is from a few years back. This is the Jimmy Page remaster. It sounds good. I like it. Led Zeppelin 2. Good album. Next one. What album have you listened to the most in your life? The Beach Boys' Endless Summer. My dad had this on cassette growing up. We listened to it all the time in the car. I love the Beach Boys. Really, most eras of the Beach Boys, not just, early 60s to mid 60s Beach Boys. Yeah, this compilation really just started it all for me. And I just have a lot of memories sitting in the back of my dad's car, driving places, listening to this cassette. This is a really good compilation if you want a good overview of sort of like the earlier period of the Beach Boys, like pre-Pet Sounds. It's got a lot of the hits, but it's also got some really good album cuts on here, like Wendy and You're So Good to Me and Girl Don't Tell Me, and yeah, this is a great compilation. I've listened to the songs on this compilation probably a million times total in my life. So, show an album with a crazy story. Alright, so this is Singing in the Rain by Sheila and Be Devotion. This is some French disco music. Sheila she's like a pop singer from the 60s. In the 70s, she did disco like a lot of musical artists did. She did disco, and she had a backing group called Be Devotion, who, if I take this out, that's Be Devotion. There they are. That's not the story, though. The story is that when I was in high school, I took French, and we would always have this substitute teacher. He was fluent in French, and he would make us do French work. And we all really didn't like him because he made us do French work. So one time he came in, and then, whenever our teacher got back, we were complaining about him because it's like, oh man, And somehow, my French teacher was like, did you guys know that the substitute teacher was in a French disco group? And we were all like, what? And that French disco group is Sheila and Be Devotion. So, him. This was my substitute teacher in high school. Rest in peace, Mr. Wilkins. Yeah, and my friend Jared, shout out my friend Jared, he bought me this. He's bought me actually every single Sheila and Be Devotion record that I own, and I own quite a fair bit at this point. He's gotten me. So, there's that. Collecting pet peeve. I don't know. My pet peeve, a lot of people of the vinyl tags that I've watched, they talk about people being snobby or gatekeeping, people being rude, that kind of stuff. And I agree. It's no fun, especially with the vinyl community, but record collecting in general. Let people like what they like, as long as it's not harmful. But yeah, I second that. But really, my one collecting pet peeve is price stickers. Really, not a lot of the places that I go to around here put the records in a sleeve and then put the sticker on the sleeve. I get why a lot of places don't do that. It's easy to switch the prices, but having the stickers directly on the record sleeve is it's a pain. Yeah, no. Stickers, not my favorite. An album or genre people would be surprised to know you like. This is hard because this is my first video, and so you don't really know what I like, I suppose. I don't have an established taste, at least on YouTube. And I guess, in general, my friends just kind of joke around like I listen to a lot of older music. And so I suppose they would be a little surprised that I listen to newer music, maybe, if all they knew was that I listen to older music. But I'm not really shy about what I listen to. And so, I guess the one thing that kind of popped into my mind is sort of like country music. Particularly like country rock, alt country, stuff like that. The one that I picked out is Burrito Deluxe by the Flying Burrito Brothers. This is Graham Parsons. Graham Parsons is great. I love Graham Parsons stuff. It's the foundation for country rock, really. And I like a lot of bluegrass stuff, a lot of newer, like, alt country stuff. But yeah, I know a lot of people, it's kind of hit or miss with people, but for me, that's what I like. that maybe people wouldn't expect from me. A record from the year you were born. I don't have any LPs from the year I was born, but I do have, let's get that, Losing My Religion by REM. So I love REM. I particularly like sort of earlier REM. They're fairly consistent. So yeah, Year I Was Born. This was actually a hit around the time I was born, I believe, off the top of my head. But from the Year I Was Born. Share an interesting fact about an album or song. This is Gene Clark with the Gosden Brothers. This is Gene Clark's first solo release after he left the Byrds. And my fun fact about this is that this album came out around the same time as, like, I think the same, within a couple weeks maybe, or I don't know, but really, like, at the same time as the Byrds' Younger Than Yesterday. And although I love this album, and I love Younger Than Yesterday, this album got very overshadowed by the Byrds' release. And yeah, he never really got the equivalent fame as the Byrds did, and he got kind of overshadowed with this one. But I love this record. Show an album with an animal on the cover. This one does not have real animals on it. This is Dr. John's Gumbo. I love Dr. John. This is a really good record if you want to get into Dr. John, but you also want to get into less his psychedelic stuff and more like R&B, like New Orleans R&B standards. But yeah, not real pigs, but pig, pig, pig. And Dr. John right there, of course, pointing to him. But yeah, great record. Love this album. An album with crazy artwork. This prompt really, there was one choice for me. A Wizard, a True Star by Todd Rundgren. I love Todd Rundgren. He's one of my favorites. And this is maybe, it'd be tough. This is maybe my favorite Todd Rundgren album. It's wild. It's out there. The album cover is definitely an indicator of that. He's got an ear on his eye. He's got two ears where his normal ears should be. I mean, all this stuff. It's just a wild cover. And this record is a little bit wild as well. Probably not the craziest thing you'll ever hear if you're into more avant-garde stuff. But if you go into this record expecting Hello, It's Me and stuff like that, you don't quite get it. Good record. Love this record. Definitely a weird album cover. Show a really good album that you can find for cheap. I found this one for cheap. This was actually something I picked up right before quarantine started. Not my most recent find, but one of the last in-person finds that I found. I Got a Name by Jim Croce. This is a really good record. I love Jim Croce. I love kind of like singer-songwriter folky stuff anyways. This record is the record that came out. He was working on it when he unfortunately passed away. It's good to put on the background if you need something kind of calming and relaxing. So, cheap, good, easy to find. Show an album with an acquired taste. This is the album that I think of the most when I think of with an acquired taste, and that is Beach Boys' Love You. This was put out in the late 70s. The exact year escapes me. I think maybe 77. If you go into this record and you're expecting fun, you're expecting I Get Around, you're expecting Wouldn't It Be Nice, you're expecting good vibrations, you will not get that here. This record is weird. This is the most un-Beach Boys record I think that the Beach Boys ever put out. It is very synthesizer heavy. It is basically almost exclusively synthesizers. And it's a weird record. It sounds weird. It sounds clunky. The lyrics are like bonkers. And the first time I listened to this record, I hated it. I was like, what is this garbage? And, I listened to it again. I didn't like it. And then my brother told me, you know what? If you're up late at night, you're super tired, listen to this record and you'll get it. And I did that one time, and I got it. This record, yeah, it's clunky, it sounds weird, it doesn't sound like anything else that the Beach Boys put out, and yet, it's just really charming. But every single song on this record has a hook that is unbelievable, and that even as weird as this album sounds, it is, it just shows just how good of a songwriter Brian Wilson is, that even with all the weird instrumentation and all the weird lyrics, he can still write an entire album that has hooks, really catchy stuff. So I love this. Yeah, it takes a little bit to get used to it, but it's really good. And then last one, show your most recent find. So yeah, like everyone else, I've been doing ordering online. These are 2 reissues that I picked up. This is the first stuff that I bought from Vinyl Me Please. I've heard a lot of mixed things about Vinyl Me Please, and didn't know what to expect, but they were fairly cheap. 2 records. First one I got was Wild Flag. This is sort of like a indie Riot Girl-ish supergroup from, I want to say this album came out like maybe 10 years ago. This was when I was in college. Yeah, this has Carrie Brownstein from Sleater-Kinney. It has Janet Weiss from Sleater-Kinney. It has Mary Timony from Helium. And it has Rebecca Cole from the Minders. And yeah, it's good. It's a little poppy. It's a little aggressive. I was really into this album kind of when it came out, when I became aware of it. This was sort of like my gateway into Sleater-Kinney's stuff. I got really into this record. So, and this is on this sort of like green and pink sort of splatter on a clear. Pretty cool. And then the other one I got is one of my favorites. I just love her stuff, which is Laura Nero. This is Laura Nero's first album. It has a lot of the songs that made her famous, sort of, not famous, but, you know, made her, a lot of the songs that became hits for other people, like And When I Die, and Wedding Bell Blues, and He's a Runner, and, yeah, just really good stuff. This was also reissued after she got a little bit more notoriety as the first songs. It has a red cover with flowers on it. But yeah, super excited to get this one. I love Laura Nero. She's one of my favorites. Of course, I love Todd Rundgren, and Todd Rundgren loves Laura Nero. So, and yeah, this is on sort of like a transparent pink and yellow print. And they also did a reproduction of a promo label. That was my newest pickup. They sound good. I know a lot of people complain about Vinyl Me Please. I've seen it because I've been a little bit intrigued over the years about them, but I don't know. Worked out for me. Anyways, y'all, that's the whole list. I hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, hopefully I'll make more videos like this in the future. This was sort of like the first step. But yeah. Anyways, I hope y'all have a good rest of your day, rest of your night. And see y'all next time.